Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, this is Lewis Jordan here in the living room. I have Shondell Newsom from Some New with me. I want to give a shout out to my my partner in crime, Kathy Thomas, who's away on vacation. Man, Kathy, this is kind of hard when you ain't here.
I know, it's tough.
I know the first time I missed, and I'm like, oh, they got it. No, Kathy got it. So, but anyway, so good to be here. So good to have you all out listening. Special shout out to the station, 88.1. Man, 88.1 is everywhere.
Yeah, the People Station.
The People Station is so grateful. We're so grateful to be a part of such a wonderful partnership and collaboration. So, we got a lot to talk about today, huh?
We do. You know, I love this, and Craig was just telling me, the general manager of KCP Power 88 was just telling me that this listener was telling him, I love that show when y'all sitting on the couch and y'all talking to people. And he said, oh, you mean living room sessions with the housing authority? I said, yeah, that's it. You know, this show is brought to you. We came up with this show, and thank God for the people at the Housing Authority and your leadership, Mr. Jordan, and saying, you know, what we got to work, and I like your phrase, is we got to work at the speed of trust.
That's right.
And so in order to have trust, we have to put things out there, let people talk about it, and then ask the questions and talk directly to the Housing Authority. And you said, hey, man, I'm doing the show myself. We ain't no proxy. I'm stepping up. I'm proud of you.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that. And, you know, I say that because, you know, being a person who's from the neighborhood, I know how important it is when I run into somebody at the barbershop, when I'm getting food at a restaurant, or, you know, having a cigar, and somebody say, aren't you the Housing Authority guy? I don't want to duck. Yeah, I'm the Housing Authority guy. And let me tell you about what my team is doing. And, you know, we're in a very fortunate time where we have, 10 projects going on, 1,600 new units. And not only are we touching what I like to call the brick and mortar, the other part that's probably favorite for me, we're touching the people side of it.
Yeah.
We're helping move people from where they are to where they want to be. We're creating opportunity. You know, we're over at Matt Kelly this morning with the first day of school, and I'm 66 now. I can vividly remember earlier in my life people clapping for me.
Wow.
And man, once I got that bug, you know, and I'm like, okay, yeah, Lou, and if you do this, they'll clear there. It's consequence and reward.
Yeah.
And just being, and for those of you who haven't had the experience, over at Matt Kelly this morning, first day of school, got the high five line going, and just to see the excitement in these young people's eyes. But what I look for is that look that says, I wonder if I can be that way.
Yep, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I had that look, and as Mo D would say, how you like me now?
How you like me now?
Yeah,
cool, Mo D. Look at that. He went back in the archive.
There you go.
Maya don't know nothing about that kind of stuff. There's young folks here, boy. They don't know about cool Mo D.
But
how you like me now?
It's good, and not only like me, but the people who pulled me across and who came with me. Yeah, so we got a lot of good stuff to talk about today.
Yeah.
You know, last week, and again, just shout out to you and your team, man.
Thank you.
We did the Marble Manor block party.
Oh, man.
What were your thoughts just being over there and just talk a little bit about it's particularly the role Some New played?
Wow. Well, you know, Some New loves and enjoys engaging, educating, and elevating the community in many different ways. And so, you know, the team, I've always told them that, you know, our core value is creating a relationship of excellence, and that's with our community, that's with our clients, and you know, it's becoming embodied. And here's the personal side of it, is that my wife used to live on Downway in Marble Manor prior to them moving to the View. And one of the things that I thought was important is how we do things and how we communicate things. So in our role, it's about keeping a positive energy. Right. Keep talking about a new beginning, not a tear down, not a destroying, but a new beginning and starting over again, and then bringing in this new energy and this new elevation. And we're going to talk later on with Paula about some of the opportunities to what you said, move people from where they are to where they need to go.
Absolutely.
And that's what I enjoyed. I enjoyed the people. I mean, young people, older people, folks who got to the microphone, the DJ. It was a block party.
And some of the stories.
Yes.
Some of the stories. People who have not been in that environment, who haven't been in communities that I'll say have largely been underinvested in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they just they're over there. They don't want to do any better. That's just how they are. No, there's some beautiful. I'm a guy who loves little jargons and slogans. I remember when State Farm did their something good out of the hood.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate, the Marble Manors, the Cabrini Greens, the Hugo Pruitts, and all of the wonderful people that lived in those places, and some of the folks that got out and went on to do great, great things. And, and I look at what we have here and I say, you know what? We got some folks, and we heard some of those stories.
Yeah.
I had a guy come up to me and, he told me what he's doing. And I said, I used to live in this apartment here. And I can remember since being here going to candlelight vigils where unfortunately someone lost their lives. So you're right. It's not that we're just building new housing. We're continuing a story that was created on the historic West Side that will have, a new look, a new feel, and, and great grandchildren can be able to say, my nana, my papa lived there.
Right.
And look at what we're doing here today. So yeah.
And we had fun at the block party. Look, we even got leader dance. I got it on video now.
Is that right?
Be quick. Hey, listen, guys. The Housing Authority team has some superstars behind the scenes. There's always these people, and you'll hear about a lot of them, especially from Mr. Jordan over these airwaves, and you've heard a lot of it, with Kathy and so many different people who are family.
Right.
I mean, you got a real good family.
Exactly.
And congratulations
and I appreciate
on how they come together and pull off these exciting events. I mean, your chair said, man, y'all seem to have an event every week. We like to party.
Yeah. Shout out to Tick Sagerboom. He said, yeah, like we do this every week. Well, we do it every week because we got something every week to do. And on that note, before we go on, just wanted to give a shout out to Senator Dina Neal.
Yes.
We did the groundbreaking the other day over in North Las Vegas, and we have this new 120 or so units that are dedicated to seniors that we're going to call Senator Joe Neal.
Nice.
Development, and again, just wonderful to see all of his family come out, see his daughter come out who's still representing strong, and again, just walking in the crowd, people talk about, man, we used to do this over here.
Right.
We used to do that over here.
Shout out to Jazz. Jazz said he grew up with that was my apartment right over there with that.
I remember you talking to. Exactly. I remember you talking to somebody, and he was very adamant about that was his spot.
That was his spot.
Yeah. But so yeah, we're doing some good things. Thank goodness for collaboration, partnership, and money.
Yeah.
And but more importantly, thank goodness for a community that says we're going to come together. We're going to take advantage of these offers that we have, and we're going to get some stuff done, and we're making that happen.
And what I love about the Housing Authority, we kind of, we mix things, right? Just like you talk about with a DJ, we mix things up. And I remember when we sat down and we talked about the Choice Neighborhood grant, and it said housing, people, neighborhood, and the whole group said, people come first.
That's right.
We actually shifted that around. Mm-hmm. We said people, housing, neighborhood, and people do come first, and we even highlighted people. Why is that so important to you?
Well, it's interesting you say that it's so important because that's what it should be about. And as you know, we were only one of, I think, 7 housing authorities to receive that award, and we had to do a very, very competitive presentation. And I truly, to this day, I believe that what got us over the hump, what got us, over the finish line, was our inability. I lost my word there. The ability to focus on people first. I was, looking for the word relentless. But it's important. We can build new units. We can, as one of my colleagues would say, we can do halls and walls, but you got to be able to build a product that makes people who live there proud and also make it inviting for other people to want to come. And so, that focus on, and then focusing on people, particularly as it relates to pulling the product together. And again, shout out to the team for the work we're doing around Section 3, the work we're doing to actively recruit and help with minority and minority and disadvantaged businesses. We're having millions and millions of dollars come through this community. We want to leave some of it here.
Great investment.
Absolutely. Yeah, but that people part is so important.
Yeah, it's the top thing. Yeah. So I love what we're doing here, Mr. Jordan. So, it's hard, like you said, doing this show without, I can't have the smooth voice like Kathy.
I know. Kathy
both of us are like coming, with a little strong strength. She got the smooth.
The slow. She's sitting on the couch.
Right. Yeah. She's chilling on the couch.
Yeah, sitting on the couch, right.
But we're here. I mean, we got a special guest and, she's family.
That's right.
Bottom line, when she walked in the door, everybody was hugging her up, boy. They were like, "Hey, Paula." I said, "Well, Paula." Paula makes an appearance, boy. It's happening. Paula Tucker. She's here with us this morning with the Housing Authority. Paula, you got so many hats. What is your role? But tell the folks what you do.
So I am the Director of Supportive Services for the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority, and it's kind of a good segue from what you were just talking about, that we put people first. Because when Mr. Jordan came in as our Executive Director, he was adamant that we must create resident opportunities. And that's one of the very first things that he said when he did a sit-down with my team, is that I'm very big on creating resident opportunities, and I want you guys to make sure that that's what we're doing and caring about residents every day that you come to work. So, of course, we were thrilled because that's what we do, and we've always wanted to be. We want other people in the agency to care about what we do as much as we do. So that was a big plus for us. So basically, we meet residents where they are. We have a plethora of programs that help families and individuals move towards self-sufficiency. We also have a very robust senior services program where we help our seniors in the developments to age in place. And we have a family self-sufficiency program, a ROS, which is a resident opportunity for self-sufficiency program that's on site at the public housing developments. And then we most recently just took on a Jobs Plus program, which is the F.L.E.X. We rebranded that to be called Fostering Lasting Employment Experiences. And we're going to be talking about that later on. But just all of these programs, all to help families and residents create better opportunities and move their families towards long-term self-sufficiency and economic independence. So that's what we do in a nutshell. But it's a lot. Every day is different, and that's what I love about my job.
I love how you do your job. I mean, I think that you guys really, really make it easy for residents to find their way, and meeting them where they are is exactly what you do. I see all the partnerships you have.
Sure.
We were just at Matt Kelly, and the people from CSN were talking about the WETC and how you guys are going to partner with the Workforce Education Training Center, how you partner with different organizations to make things happen for residents. I think that is very important. And being when you're looking at it from the perspective of people, and I think that's where you thrive, Paula. Mm-hmm. I'm really impressed by your team and how they thrive in the space of people because they care. Mm-hmm. I mean, they put their heart and soul into this, right?
Everybody's story is different. So, we sit down with people, one person at a time, and we listen, and we find out, not just where they've been, but where they want to go. And it's our job to help them to get there. And some people have a short journey, and some people have a long journey. But whatever that journey is, it's up to us to help them, to give them the action steps, to help them devise a plan to get there and to connect them to resources and services in the community. And to make sure that if we don't know where those resources and services are, that we find out where they can get those, to go out and to develop those. So, that's what we're good at. And we think that we have, we've been doing it for so long, we think that we've kind of got it down to a science. So, but like I said, sometimes sometimes things come out of the woodwork that we haven't done before, and we have to, hey, we haven't thought of that one before, so we have to go out there and really, put our minds together and dig deep and, call on some of our public partners and, hey, have you ever run across this before, and really connect them to what's out there in the community. So, like I said, every day is different. It's challenging, but we try to, at the end of the day, we try to make sure that our residents are getting the services and resources that are needed in the community, because they are just as entitled to whatever else is out there, to opportunities in the community as everyone else.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to add something to what Paula said. When I came on board, first of all, I was extremely pleased that we had a department as large as hers. And she's looking at me like, you think we large? They're large, but they can always use more help. So I was extremely pleased at the commitment that the organization had made to having, because I've been in different size housing authorities, larger and smaller, where, this type of effort isn't shown. But what I like to say we did, we became very intentional. And while, she alluded, they were already doing the work. But no, we're going to push this work up front. I want to see resident services, opportunities, people at everything we do. I want people to understand that this is not about just, giving out, gift cards or things of that nature. It's really about helping, move you. We have 4 pillars that we talk about at the Housing Authority. One is it's a no-brainer. We need to make more housing. We have to have more housing. We have to be very, very strong with customer service. Have to have a very well-trained work group, educated, trained, in order to meet the ever-changing needs. And finally, and by no means at the last order, because depending on who you talk about or you talk to at the Housing Authority, people always accuse me of being, showing favoritism to Paula's team, which I probably do, because that's, but
okay by me.
that last pillar is our resident opportunities. Right. I mean, just understanding. I'll have Paula talk a little bit about her the yearly family self-sufficiency graduation, and it kind of made me think about it this morning. As we were at Matt Kelly, we have people who will graduate, and Paula, you can tell a little bit about the program, that I don't think, and it's a wonderful event, that I don't think have ever had people cheer for them in their lives. And to see someone 35, 45, 50 years old have a room full of people stand up and clap, but more importantly, have their children or their siblings sitting at the table. And if you can just look in the eyes of some of these folks. So, Paula, talk a little bit about FSS graduation. And before you say it, I want to give a shout out to some of her teammates. But if you look in the dictionary and you looked up the word tenacity, won't let you give up, just relentless, you'll see pictures of Paula and her team in the dictionary. And so, Paula, talk about why that's such an important program for us. Okay,
so the Family Self-Sufficiency Program is a voluntary employment and earnings program through HUD. And so the greatest thing I think of that is that it's voluntary. So they sign up and say, I want to, set goals for myself and my family and do better to move us towards economic independence, self-sufficiency. How do I do that? So we actually have a wait list to get onto the program, about 9 to 12 months. There's about 300 or 400 families waiting just to get in the program, and we have about 400 to 500 families currently on the program. So once we pull them from the list and they sit down with they attend an orientation and they actually sit down with one of the coordinators, we do a needs assessment, and we just kind of find out where you are, where you are in life, what happened to you, and where do you want to go from here. And of course there's some mandatory goals, employment, and then you can't be on like cash assistance at the end of the program, but we actually sign a contract with these families or the head of household, and it's a 5-year contract. Some people finish that in a couple of years. Some people actually need more time. We give them an extension up to 7 years. But over the course of this time, you can imagine, we become family. We get to know them because we're meeting with them monthly and then sometimes quarterly. I mean, after that, the first 3 months, we meet with them quarterly, and we're giving them action steps that we need you to take in order to accomplish these goals. And a lot of times the goals can be educational goals. I want to get my GED, my bachelor's degree or associate's bachelor's degree. I want to, improve my credit. I want to start saving. I want to buy a home. Sometimes it's simple goals like I want to learn how to drive. Whatever in life they want to accomplish, we're there to help them walk through that process. So at the graduation, we do it annually, and we have about 40 to 50 people that graduate, and we encourage them to invite their family members, and many times it might be a whole table full of their family members, and just to see them get up there and speak and say, this is where I started. My credit score was 450, and now I'm at 700.
Wow.
And I never even had a bank account, and now I have all this money saved in the bank. And then I didn't even understand what home ownership was, and now I'm getting ready to buy a home, and you guys walked me through the process. And then there's just so much pride. I can remember one graduation that we had, and there was a whole family of 10, and I heard the daughter say to her mother, Mom, it was an after 5, we had an evening graduation, and everybody dressed up, and she said, we've never been to someplace so nice before. I really like this. And it's just doing those kind of things for families that I think they've never experienced that before. So just being able to put a smile on their face and just bring some joy to them, like you mentioned, that maybe many of them have never experienced. Right. So wow. It's really rewarding. Sure. A lot of times we hear people in the agency say, you guys have all the fun, but they don't. A lot of times I always tell them, when you come down here, sometimes in our department, you see doors closed, and you don't get to hear what the stories that we hear behind those closed doors. And sometimes there's a lot of tears.
That's right.
They come in and close the door and say, I've been waiting on this day for many years.
Wow.
Just so I can tell you my story. So, there's a lot of tears, and there's a lot of, back and forth, and sometimes people fail and come back. But in the end, after all that time, when they're finally, getting to the finish line, that's when there's so much pride and there's the celebration and the joy.
I want to talk to you more about that, Paul. Let me call in some. Let's bring in some of our callers. Like, if you want to call in and you want to join us on Living Room Sessions, you're here with Mr. Lewis Jordan, the man, and with Shondell Newsom. We're giving a shout out to our co-host in absence right now with Kathy Thomas. Call in at 702-647-3688, 702-647-3688. You know what? One of the things that I take from when I went to the graduation, I was emotionally pulled because I remember my mom used to tell me when my father went to Vietnam right after I was born, and it was people like you who came in and talked to her and helped her get through that. Like, they were young parents. Right. She was 18 years old, and to help her work through, because the war was going on. My father enlisted because he didn't want to get drafted, and she said, there were people like you that helped us get in the Head Start, helped her get whatever assistance she needed. Just
day-to-day life,
day-to-day life
encouraging. Absolutely.
So it's not like what some people say, well, these people don't want to do this. And
right. No.
It's people.
It could be overwhelming.
It could be very overwhelming.
Absolutely.
So I really take to heart when you talk about those things. And that's what motivates me many times. Some people think it's a job. It's not a job. This is like a real ministry for me.
Absolutely. And before we stray away, Paula, talk about the escrow part. That's my favorite part.
Right.
Yeah.
So as when they join the program, we kind of give them whatever their earned income is at that time. It's called a baseline number, and anything that increases over that time. And of course, if you come in and you're not working, it's going to be zero. And then if you start working from that point, your rent's going to increase. So as your rent increases, let's say you're not paying any rent and you join, and from that point you start working, and then your rent becomes $200 a month. That $200 a month goes into an escrow account for you. Every month it increases. So let's say over the course of a year, $200 a month, that's $2,400. So the next year, you get a raise, and let's say your rent becomes, $400 a month. $400 a month over the course of a year, that's $4,800 at the end of the year. All that escrow money is increasing or adding up over the course of 5 years. A lot of times people have $15,000, $20,000 in that escrow account. Once you successfully complete that 5-year program, that escrow money belongs to you. Housing Authority writes you a check. That's your money to do whatever you want to do.
OMG.
Now, over the course of that, we're working with you on budgeting. We're working with you on establishing good credit. So, we have the confidence that you're just not going to go out there and, blow it, in the course of a week or so. You're making good financial decisions because we've been working with you the whole time. And if you are on our Housing Choice Voucher program, we can actually help you to transition that rental voucher into a home ownership voucher, and help you to buy a home. And we can connect you to down payment assistance programs where we can match some of those funds 4-to-1 for down payments assistance. All kind of different things, because in addition to all of my 9 FSS coordinators being counselors, being coordinators, they are all HUD certified housing counselors, which means we can connect you to down payment assistance, to legitimate realtors and lenders throughout Clark County. So it's just a wonderful program. And if you don't know about it and you want more information, please reach out to us and we'll make sure that we connect you so that you can definitely be connected with the program.
And if you talk about what Paula just said, times 40 people. So the last couple graduations, we've given away in total each year somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000 back to those cohorts of 40 people. Depends each person. What would you say the average person gets?
The last year we gave a family the largest escrow check ever. It was a public housing family, and it was $52,000.
That's life changing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it clearly
that's life
is.
changing.
And particularly as indicated, if you can use that as a down payment on a house, you can use that towards education.
Wow.
You can use that towards a goal. But more importantly for me is that, I'm watching that person who's telling the story, and I'm looking at their family members. I'm looking at the graduation is so flexible. If you're a graduate and your baby wants to say something, bring that baby up and let him say something.
Love it.
That kind of thing, because again, some of us will go through life and nobody ever cheers for us. Some of us are fortunate enough to go through life, and every time we look up, somebody's cheering for us. So.
All right, awesome. So we got a caller on the air. Let's grab one of our callers and welcome to the couch, and kick up your feet and get you some lemonade and iced tea or muddy water. Come on and join us on Living Room Sessions. Caller, you're on the air.
Awesome. Good morning, and thank you so much for having me. I feel like I'm right at home. I have to say that I am very familiar with Shondell Newsom as well as Paula over at the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority. My name is Jamila Christian, and I'm a local realtor, and I used to work for the Housing Authority years ago, and I am just thrilled. I jumped on 88.1 this morning on accident. I haven't listened to the radio in about 4 years. And I hear you guys talking about this program, and this program is phenomenal. I was just talking to someone who called me this morning from Mississippi who is actually porting her voucher here to Nevada, and I was sharing this program at about 7 a.m. this morning. So I think this is all kind of happening for a reason, but thank you to Paula, her team. You guys work tirelessly. I have seen it at firsthand, and thank you for being on air, educating our community, giving back and sharing. You guys are truly making a difference.
All righty.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you calling in, and I can't, say enough of, for people like you in the community that support us, real estate agents, and we work with a lot of different lenders in the community that believe in our program, and then, really understand that and walk our clients through the process and support us all the time. And so, those of you that are interested, the professionals out there that want to work with us and understand that you have to, work with us and with the clients, please also, if you want to get in touch with us, please reach out to me, and I'd love to have a conversation with you, because we're all in this together. We're all trying to help people become first-time home buyers. And
we are 88.1 FM Las Vegas, owned and operated by the Economic Opportunity Opportunity Board of Clark County, broadcasting in HD1. We've been the People Station for 50 years and counting. Thank you, Las Vegas. We are Power 88, the People Station.
So, the callers that, I love it. I love the fact that you have these partners and these relationships. I told you, you're a star, right? When we first came on, we sitting on the couch over here. We got Miss Oprah Winfrey over here telling us that, I don't know if I want to go, but she's a star. You got the caller calling in, talking to her, Mr. Jordan.
Go. Yeah, and right? people just don't know what we do.
Right.
And again, I've done this for a minute. So what do you? I work at the Housing Authority. I work at the Housing Authority. I work in maintenance. I work in Section 8. No, we change lives.
Every day.
We change lives every day. And I was sharing with the team that we're not just a housing authority. We're a premier provider of affordable housing. We're a developer. We're a property management company, and we change lives. We got another caller?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see who else we got out here. Caller, you're on the air.
Hello, how are you all?
Good morning, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
I'm blessed and highly favored. My question is, am I eligible for any of these programs? I believe I'm still on your housing list. I'm over 65 and I can no longer afford to pay this $1,400. I definitely need to get back into something because this is killing me. I'm working 3 jobs and my body is saying, straight down, girl.
So, caller, we're having a very difficult time hearing you. Why don't you leave your number with our host, and I'll make sure someone gives you a call back this afternoon.
Thank you.
All right, and again, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I did hear what she said, but I definitely will get back to her today and give her an answer. Yeah. But one thing I did want to share too, that the program is very successful and we have a lot of longevity. And I wanted to share one story that I had that I run into previous clients all the time, graduates. And one day I was at picking up some bagels and I ran into one of them. She's like, hey, Miss Tucker, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm always checking on them, temperature check, making sure they're doing the right thing. And I've said, hey, how's the house coming? Are you still working? I always ask that. And she said, hey, I'm a supervisor now. She works at the post office. She said, I'm a supervisor now and I'm at the main post office. I said, that's wonderful to hear. I said, how's your house coming? She said, I sold that house and bought another one closer to where I work.
Wow.
Nice.
And I'm like, that's what I'm trying to hear right now. So I just want you to know that, we're always when we have a few extra minutes, we go back and we check on our residents, our former clients to make sure that they're still on that upward trajectory, that they're still, keeping moving and grooving and continue to do what they're supposed to do. So we don't forget about them once they're out of the program.
Okay. Can you announce the phone number?
My direct number is 702-477-3192. That is my direct line. So if you give me a call, I will definitely give you a call back and answer any questions you have regarding the program.
Awesome. I'm just amazed. It's like, what Mr. Jordan said. If anybody asks you, do you work at the housing authority? Say, yeah, we change lives.
That's right.
I love that.
And we need to stop and talk about it.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to just say, I do this or I do that.
Right.
So no, we need to talk about it, and that's that pillar that talks about a well-educated and well-informed workforce. If we're nothing else, we're intentional.
Yes.
We are very intentional. Yes. And so, being intentional, letting people know, and let me be clear, will we have a misstep every now and then? Sure we will.
Of course.
But if we're intentional, if we have the people's best interest at heart, when in fact we make that misstep, it'll shock folks. That happened at the Housing Authority? For real? Yeah. No, that's not what they do. And that's the response I'm looking for. Before I got into this world, I did a nice stint in corporate America. And I remember us getting quality training. Oh. And we had something called 0 defects. And it's like, and someone once asked me, everybody makes mistakes. Well, you shouldn't. And if you keep at it, when mistakes become something or missteps become something that's so few and far apart, you're striving for excellence. You're striving to help people become so strong that it's not a part of your nature So yes, we're going to answer our phones. Yes, we're going to call people back when they call us. Yes, even though it may not turn out to be in the favor of a person that's, having a concern with us, we're going to give them the dignity and respect to explain it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They call that quality assurance.
That's
in
right.
The military. I remember those days. The quality checks. So I want to shift gears because, you talked about the family self-sufficiency program. I love that, and it changes lives. But, something that is near and dear to my heart, I'm a library geek, right? My mother was, second grade school teacher, and she kept me living in the library. So I love books. I am really a book nerd. Like, how people have their screensaver and on the back, those are my real books. When y'all watching me on Zoom, that's not a fake bookshelf. That's my real bookshelf. I got books and books and books and books. So you have this book-rich environment program, right? And it's amazing to me that you have still inspiring people to read books and touch books and feel books. Tell us a little bit about this book-rich environment program.
So when Mr. Jordan came on as our executive director, that's almost one of the first things that he came to me with, and he said, "Paula, I want you to get involved with this book-rich environment." And at that time, it was a HUD initiative. It has since moved past that this year, and now it's with the National Book Foundation. But we immediately joined the book-rich environment, and the purpose of the program is to get books in the hands of our residents ages 0 to 18. That's the main goal. So, we signed up and we became a part of a cohort where they ship books to you, and they immediately said, "How many books do you want?" So, at that time last year, we were pretty aggressive. We said, we'll take 2,500 books. So they started shipping books to us, and then we just said, okay, how are we going to get rid of these books? And because we have so many resident events, we were confident that we could get the books, to our residents. So, I could just remember one of the very first things that we did, last year at Marble Manor, we had a teen suicide. And we had some domestic violence events that had happened in a very short period of time. As a matter of fact, it was right before President's Day, after Martin Luther King Day, before President's Day. So, within a matter of days, we decided we're going to put together this, walk through the community, but we're also going to have, we called it Building Better Communities, and we had a little resource fair on President's Day. So we got some resource providers together, so community partners and with some of the churches, and we walked through the community, and as we Bolden Area Command, and as we knocked on the doors, we had bags full of books. And as you knocked on the door, everybody came to the door. And then when the kids came, that's how we kind of, broke the ice and got them to talk to us. We're like, hey, we have some books we'd like to share. And when they see, I brought some of the books just so you guys can see, when they see images on the books that look like them, their hearts just warmed, and they were all just reaching and grabbing at the books saying, "Oh, I'd love to have it." And so they thought we were just going to let them look at the books while we were there. And we told them, no, keep them. We brought them here for you to have. They were just like shocked and amazed that we were actually giving them the books. So the whole purpose, of us doing this and bringing the books, on site into the families is for them to build their own library, their own home library. So, the National Book Foundation, the Book-Rich Environment, encourages families to spend at least 20 minutes a day reading to their children. And by building a home library, this helps them to accomplish that. So, we get to actually go in each year and tell them a little bit about our residents, the demographics. And so this year we were able to say we have a greater Hispanic community. So we got books in Spanish, even baby books in Spanish that we can share with our residents, right? And so we tell them that we have more Asian residents. We have African American residents. So we got a plethora of books to share, and depending on where we are, that's what we know what books we take. And so we take them to our back to school pop-ups. We take them to our family day, which is huge. We have a huge family day event. We went out to Henderson this year. We had the library asking us for books. So everybody wants our books because we display them. We had them at the Marble Manor event the other day, but pretty much anywhere that the Housing Authority is going to have an event for residents, residents, there will be a table with free books.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow, man, that is real. See, and these are things that I think when we sit back and we kick back on our couch that people don't know.
Sure.
I know nobody knew we were giving away books.
New books, and they're new. They're brand new.
You're telling me. Sure, I want one of those books right there.
Yeah, we
wow.
You know, and I've been very fortunate in having a vast career. I wish I could say all these things we're doing I just thought of, but no, I've had people in my last housing assignment. We partnered with the Book Rich environment, and man, we did everything. We did books and barbecue. You know, any opportunity, as Paula has clearly exceeded, any opportunity to get people together, we have books.
And I think people take it for granted because, my wife was, we had our grandkids all like the last 3 or 4 days over the weekend. They're going back to school. And look, she was like, well, y'all got to get used to school, so these books are here for y'all, right? My wife got a closet full of books. Coloring books, activity books, brand new books. You know, she took them to 5 and below, and they got more books. So, I think people take it for granted that people don't have that readily available in their space, right? Like you said, when you came to the door, it was like, wow, this is Christmas or what?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Isn't that amazing?
And, and that old saying of what they see is what they'll be.
Oh,
if you give it to them, you walk in a room and depending on how that child has been influenced, and you say, here's a book or here's a toy, and I think sometimes because of how we've been influenced, well, I know she'll want the toy. No, you don't. Mm-mm. No, you don't. And that notion of getting lost, that's what's happening with social media right now. That's what's happening, and people are just getting engrossed in seeing images. Well, those same images are in books.
Right.
We just got to make them available. So,
make them available. Great job, Paul.
So amazing. One other thing I want to mention, when we started participating in the Bodo Farm book festival last year, Our Mother's Garden. That's right. And so the first year they started just putting things out there on Instagram. And so when we were the only, I think, vendor that was giving away free books. Everyone else was selling their books. So our table was pretty popular. So it was just, a lot of people from the neighborhood, teachers were literally texting their students saying, get up here now and get these free books. And we had all these teens coming up there and kids. But I had this one couple, and I swear they just looked like a couple from the 70s that just strolled from this, time machine. And they said they just moved here from Arizona and like, hey, we saw this on Instagram. It just looked like a cool place to be, so we just thought we'd attend. And here they were in the middle of the West Side, just looked like did not belong, but they showed up, food trucks, everything, this great event. And then, and they were at our table checking out books. And so I just thought that was, just really great that they were attracted to this event. So we participated again this year, same kind of effect. The library was there enrolling kids for library cards. They're our partner in this Book Rich environment.
Excellent partner, yes.
So, absolutely.
How many Chromebooks have we gotten from them?
We're like 150.
Yeah. This is from Kelvin Watson.
Kelvin Watson.
Yeah, shout out to Kelvin.
That's right.
Which is a good
director.
Segue for our F.L.E.X program.
All right.
So they'll be.
Yeah, and give Tamika a shout out. Let's give Tamika
Henry.
Early.
Oh my God,
right,
yes, for Bodo. She's a great partner.
I keep asking my team. I said, well, y'all keep disappearing. We had a Bodo. I said, well, geez, I wouldn't be so upset if y'all don't bring me some greens or something back. I mean, they don't bring nothing back. Louis, they just disappear and don't come back with nothing. They don't come back with no books or nothing. But all right, But tell me, F.L.E.X. We talked about F.L.E.X. We talked about this F.L.E.X. Oh, no, I don't do that. That's that dance. I really
Right.
Left foot, down with it. Okay.
So F.L.E.X. Okay, so F.L.E.X. is originally it was you heard us talk about Jobs Plus. Earlier you heard Mr. Jordan and Shondell talk about the Choice Neighborhood Initiative grant that we received for Marble Manor. But at the same time, we also received a $3 million Jobs Plus grant from HUD to bring workforce services to 6 communities, 5 of them on the historic West Side. And we decided that we wanted to rebrand that program to be called F.L.E.X. And that acronym stands for Fostering Lasting Employment Experiences. The X is the for the small E, large X, so experiences. And we thought that was like a cooler way to say it. You know, we'd attract more people to the program, and we really have been very successful with that name. And so we've gotten even some Instagram followers to make their own little video about Marble Manor has their own employment agency and things like that. So we were pretty excited to see that. So we're glad that people are excited about it. But the really unique thing about the program is that it is exclusive to the residents of only six properties, and that is Marble Manor Annex, Villa Capri, Sherman Gardens Annex, and then Jones Gardens on the east side. So if you don't live in those properties, you cannot take advantage of this program. I'm sorry. So this is exclusive for those properties. So if you are living in those public housing developments and you're not in the F.L.E.X program, you need to join as soon as possible, because there are so many benefits for that program.
That's not a housing authority.
That's a HUD mandated. We got the money just to serve you. And very rarely is there a program from the government that says you can only serve these people, but this one is just for you guys.
And what I believe about this program, and this is to put pressure on those 6 places, if y'all show up and show out, we'll be able to get money for other developments.
Absolutely.
You know, that's not a guarantee. That's just the Lewis says that if I really believe, just based on history, you show you can use it, you show you'll be good stewards of public money, more money's likely to come. So, you know, this is you're not only repping for your community, you know, we all counting on you. We need to show up. Paula, how are we doing so far with the program?
So I actually brought our numbers, and we're pretty much at our goal for the annual goal already. So we've already enrolled 121 people. And we just opened up the center in February. So we have enrolled 121 people year to date. And so that's amazing. So we've got, I think the ones, Sherman Gardens has had the most enrollment, that they've been the most successful. But the thing is that out of those 121 people, all 121 of them are also getting what we call the Jobs Plus Earned Income Disallowance. So that means that from the time that you joined, any increase in income that you had from earnings, right, from a job, does not increase your rent.
Gives you a chance to save
for up to 4 years. So that means, imagine for 4 years working, and all of that income stays in your household and your rent doesn't increase. So what are you going to do with it? So that's where we come in. We're going to help you. We're going to once again teach you about budgeting, teach you about building your credit and saving. And when I say saving, I don't mean putting it in the backyard, buried in the backyard, or let grandma hold on to it for you, or even just put it in a savings account.
Put it in the freezer. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't put it in the freezer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk to you about it, utilizing that 401k plan that you have with your job, or saving, for the future. If you want to buy a home, we can talk to you about that. If you want to save for your children's college, we can help you, to do that. But whatever it is, we can help you to make sure that you're saving the right way. And then when the 4 years is up, and you do have to pay rent, you're going to be in such a great financial position, it will be a no-brainer. So you're like, no problem, I got this.
So this goes way beyond like a job training program, and I think that's why we talked about fostering lasting experience,
employment experiences,
because it goes beyond just getting a job.
Right.
That's what you're saying.
Well, when the grant came out, there were some basic benchmarks they wanted us to hit, and we made the decision that we wanted to do more than that with our program. We wanted our program to kind of be set the tone for the country. Yeah, so we elevated our program.
Premier.
Absolutely.
We call that doing something new.
Yeah. So we sat down with Mr. Jordan and we said we want our program to be above and beyond everything else in the country. So if we're successful at this, then they might use our program as the blueprint for the program moving forward. And if that happens,
and that comes back to people.
It comes back to
people. That comes right back to, man, if we help these people achieve their dreams, and we're part of that, we win. We all win. Everybody wins.
Absolutely.
Right? Wow.
And then imagine that graduation.
Oh, I know, right? Imagine that graduation. And imagine that people, you're teaching them how to save, you're teaching them how to manage. Financial literacy is a big piece, right?
Absolutely. That's a key piece.
Yeah, it's a big deal, right? And I think that's what really sets when people are talking about the F.L.E.X program, right, Mr. Jordan, is that's what sets it apart. It's not, you're just getting a job and then we'll see you later. And like Paula said, they already have a habit, what I call a great habit of reaching back and checking on people later. So you're going to check on them and see, hey, how you doing with that?
Constant checking in and temperature checks to make sure. And the goal of the program, of course, is to connect them to not just employment opportunities, but to training opportunities to make sure that a lot of times there's people that haven't been in the workforce in a long time. When I was meeting with one of the residents recently, he told me he hadn't worked in 20 years. So if a person hasn't worked in 20 years, you can imagine you have to relearn how to learn from the very beginning. There's a lot of things that have happened in 20 years. So that might be someone that is going to be utilized in some intensive case management for quite a while. And so we used trauma-informed counseling with all of our programs, where we're really not looking at them as and asking what's wrong with you, but what happened to you. And how can we get you through that to move on? And
this is just for the residents again. F.L.E.X is for those residents, those 6
residents
properties.
only in those 6 properties. So, even though the center, you're going to hear us talk about, we're going to be having some sessions in upcoming weeks about Section 3, and they'll be able to still get the information and attend. But the actual training that's going to be provided will be for the residents of those 6 properties only.
And people might want to wonder, okay, why are you guys talking about this and it doesn't pertain? Well, it may pertain to you. You might have a cousin in the program. You may have like you said, you may have a grandparent in the program. You may have a friend in the program or in those properties. So
absolutely.
It's really, we're trying to let you know so that you can let everyone else know that these programs exist within these properties.
Or you could be a business owner, and we're going to be having some really great employees that you can hire real soon. So I'm hoping you're listening too.
That's right. You might be that's a great call on that, and I think one of the things you touched on, Paul, is that some people don't know what they don't know. Like when I first went into gaming and hospitality, I had no idea some of the jobs existed. I had no clue that they had these different type of jobs. And the sports teams, they talk about that too, like the Raiders and the Golden Knights and the Aces. They talk about the fact that people don't know that they got other jobs besides playing sports.
Well, we took a group of Marble Manor residents, well, not just Marble Manor, but other residents out there, when we went to training day a couple years ago, and that's part of what we went out there for, is to look at. They have trainers, and they have photographers, and they have event planners, and all different types of positions outside of the main football positions. And so it was really enlightening to see, from the drivers to the, every step of the way, all day long, there were different positions that people could see that, this is not just an organization that's made up of football players.
And we were, again, I use this word, we're very intentional. Shout out to Piper. Overstreet Miller, if I got the whole name correct.
Piper Overstreet.
We sat down with her. They said, let me be very clear. We don't just want tickets to a football game.
Right.
We want to come out. I made a little spiel to the folks on the buses. We want you to look, at everything's going on. We want you to look at the people who put the chalk down to keep you in bounds. The doctors, the medical assistants, the barber shop, all these things, I see why they call it Raider Nation.
Right.
You have a city within a city there.
Yeah.
And some of the folks who live in our development, just as anyone else, could qualify to do some of those jobs.
Piper's done an amazing job. She really, really flourished in the government affairs space, and really, but now, this community space as well. It's a delicate balance because it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But she did an amazing job of connecting with this radio station, with you guys, with all these different community organizations. Shout out to Sandra for hiring her.
Exactly.
For doing that kind of work.
Exactly. And I think we just got a 15 $15,000 grant.
We did, and Barry Aram is what we connect with her a lot too. So I want to give a shout out to her. We love her, and so we actually received a $15,500 from the Social Justice Award from the Raiders, and so we were very proud of that. And we're currently working with my team. I had them to give me ideas, and one of the things I was going to surprise Mr. Jordan tomorrow, but I'll go ahead and tell him now. We put some of the guys on my team said, we always have these hygiene kits for women, but we never have them for men. Okay. So we've got these really nice men's bags, and we put together hygiene kits for men with deodorant and shaving, and it's really neat. And so I'll show you what it looks like tomorrow. But so now we have those available for our residents when they need them, and when the moms come in and they have teenage sons, we can give them to them also. So that's one of the things we're using them for, as well as back to school and some other things.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things we do better together. Mm-hmm. And so again, shout out to that partnership we have with the Raiders, and just, in fact, yesterday you guys were we went training day, yesterday, and then we did twice last weekend. We went to the headquarters on Friday, the first, and then the second we took a group to the Allegiant Stadium. So we've been busy. And we want people to dream. We want people to say, wow, we meet I remember a driver. Yeah, I've been driving for these guys for years. I came over from Oakland, on and on and on. And so those are long-term sustainable careers that people can have that will allow them to better support themselves and their families.
Yeah, and I remember many people asking what would a football team coming to Las Vegas mean to this community, and you just summed it up.
It's meant so much. Well, you saw the mascot was there today at the Matt Kelly Back to School.
Yeah, right.
And that the kids just love that. So they're everywhere. They come to a lot of the events that and it just really invigorates the crowd and brings so much camaraderie. So we love to see them there, and they're a great community partner for sure.
Well, shout out to Mark Davis for bringing the owner of the Raiders for making this happen, because it's like it really is to be a part of the community. It goes back to people.
It does.
And what they get and what they feel. That the community is behind them, and it's like they being a part of the community and seeing the impact on people's faces, like you said, it's just amazing.
And there's a ton of Raiders fans here.
Well, and now more. You keep having these interactions in the community. You got a lot more, right?
That's
so
right.
So we in closing, Paula, what do you say to people? And you got about, let's say we say about 30 seconds. Tell us. What do you say to people to encourage them about, what they need to know about people in the housing authority?
I just always say, you deserve more. I always hear people, talk about, for instance, like Marble Manor, and they're nostalgic about, it coming down, but it's going to be so much greater when you come back. And so, and you deserve that. You deserve all the great things that it's going to be, the trees, the walkways, the splash pads, and all that comes with it. And so, we're here for you through the process, and just keep striving, and whatever you want to accomplish in life, we're here to help you get there. So just know that about us.
Absolutely. And again, I've said it at the end of every show, I'm just so grateful. I get a lot of credit for what we do, but I have an incredible team around me. It's one thing to have vision. It's also another thing to have folks who willingly, and I say this carefully, who willingly execute. And I'm grateful for this platform here at 88.1, that says, y'all come in here and tell us and the community why you're important to this community.
So it's, and look, if you want more information about the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority, go to the website, snvrha.org, right? snvrha.org is where you can go, and you'll find many information. We're making some real serious adjustments on there as well to give you more information. And you can go to all our social media platforms as well. It's been a pleasure hosting this with you, Lewis. And next month we're gonna have Kathy back in this seat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Kathy gonna be back. The next show will be on September 8th at 10:30 a.m. Make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms. Please visit us on snvrha.org for more details about us, and join us at the very next radio show for listening sessions. Make sure you bring some coffee, bring some tea, or sit back and relax and hang out with us on Living Room Sessions with the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority.